These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
After a pretty enjoyable Undertaker Mania match, we're treated to an equally awful one, as he takes on the Big Boss Man. Jenna?
Beauty. Slam!
By January of 1999, we as fans of the WWE had gotten to know The Undertaker really well. We'd seen him come back from being chloroformed. We've seen him create caskets of all different shapes and sizes and bury numerous opponents in them. We'd even seen him battle his own twin, an Underfaker, if you will. So, needless to say, by like mid-1999, Undertaker probably wasn't in the best of spirits, and he was never a guy known for a sunny disposition as it was. After a nasty blood feud with Mankind, and we all know that Hell in a Cell match, he was in a pretty dark place. And when you fall into a pit that deep, you tend to surround yourself with the absolute wrong people. And that's just what he did. He formed what became the Ministry of Darkness. He became a dark priest of sorts over this fellowship of flunkies that included Farouk and Bradshaw, the Acolytes, Midian, Viscera, and for a time, the Brood, Edge, Christian, and Gangrel. He started making overtures that he wanted to take over the World Wrestling Federation, wresting control of it from Mr. McMahon himself and his flunkies, the corporation. All of this comes to a head at WrestleMania 15 in 1999. He was set to do battle with the toughest member of the corporation. What? Big Boss Man.
The Big Boss Man. A mid-card heel in a Hell in a Cell match.
I mean, to be fair, The Undertaker was the originator of the Hell in a Cell match, and the Big Boss Man himself is not totally unacquainted with cells, seeing as though during his days as a corrections officer, he was forever clearing out porn and homemade shivs and God only knows what out of county jail cells in Cobb County, Georgia. Different kind of cell, but we'll count it, right? Sure. Regardless, the battle was on. The grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. Now we know the storied history of WrestleMania and The Undertaker and the undefeated streak that will never, ever, ever be broken, right? He's had a lot of Matt classics over the years. However, that night, it was the Big Boss Man.
This rivalry is a product of the ongoing Ministry of Darkness and Corporation feud, with the Boss Man representing the corporation, and Undertaker obviously representing the Ministry of Darkness, because that's the faction he led. He was the leader. Look at him. Undertaker, now a devil-worshipping heel. No, I'm not exaggerating. That's the gimmick he had at the time. Had been threatening Vince McMahon's family, ultimately leading into him planting a flaming cross outside the McMahon house. Taker, what are you doing? I looked past your WrestleMania 14 entrance, all right, because they had black robes, but now you're just putting flaming crosses outside people's houses. I'm just gonna say it. Obviously, someone's been watching Birth of a Nation. In all honesty, the problem here is that Big Boss Man never comes off as a threat to The Undertaker, neither in size nor reputation. I mean, he never seemed like he stood a chance against The Undertaker, and therefore didn't come across as a WrestleMania-worthy opponent. But at least Paul Bear's back at the dead man's side. We got that. That's worth it, right? No. And the stipulation of a Hell in a Cell match just seems like something to make up for all of this. Vince should have been involved in this, in Boss Man's place, since he's the one that's being personally affected by all of this. At the end of the day, the match is just a filler match. Not just for this Mania, but for Undertaker's WrestleMania resume. I mean, the most I could say about this is that it's a match, and it happened. That's really all you could say.
You know, when they do these retrospectives, these Hell in a Cell looks back at the best moments of, and this, that, and the other, you ever notice that match never, ever gets mentioned? It never gets included, and it just kind of gets glossed over in the grand scheme of all of his appearances at Mania. What is that?
The boss man's being hung from the cell! The boss man's being hung from the cell!
Nothing about this is interesting to even note when reviewing it. You know, outside of its ending where they hung a man, that is. Oh, you think I'm fucking with you? No, that's real. That happened. Check that out. After the match, the vampiric brooding trio of Edge, Christian, and Gangrel fly down from the ceiling, wrapping a noose around Big Boss Man's neck and hanging him from the cell. And this WrestleMania moment ends with a man hanging. And in case you were wondering, yes, this is the only reason they used a Hell in a Cell, so they can hang a dude. And yes, this is pretty much the only time during the whole match that the cell structure came into play. Worth it, guys. Worth it. Whoever was getting paid on creative, you know, they present day, give them a raise. I don't care where they're working now. Present day, they deserve a raise.
The Brood, Edge and Christian, descended very clumsily from the rafters, and they hung the Big Boss Man. Yeah. Yes, they lynched a man on pay-per-view in 1999. Yep, that happened. So they descended clumsily, awkwardly put a noose around his neck, hung him, and just as awkwardly ascended. Is in his book, The Education of Adam Copeland, Edge tells the story of doing this and how while he's being raised back up to the ceiling, for whatever reason, the mechanism pulling him stops. But the cell is still being pulled up. So he's just kind of dangling, long skinny legs flopping as the cell closes in on him. Fortunately, obviously, he made it in the nick of time. So, yeah. That's that.
Burn this. This must never be seen by anyone.
So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free $1 to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that $1, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
VTards, oh.